Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Book's Paranormal Podcast. We're joined here today with Curtis Schweiger. I can never pronounce it right, and I've just tried it once. But Curtis, we've had your daughter on the show recently, a couple of weeks ago now, and she explained that there's a bit of a father-daughter paranormal team kind of bond thing going on. Obviously, you've been in the paranormal world for quite some years. But for the viewers, can you tell us a bit about who you are, how long you've been to paranormal? They can see your group there, Ghost Chaser, explain a bit about that. And just explain yourself and who you are, really.
I will, Buck. Good to be here, Buck.
Thank you.
Yeah, I started probably getting into the paranormal. I'm not really getting into it, but having experiences when I was a kid, because we used to live up way out in the country when I was a kid. My brother and I used to go to this place. It was just up from our home called Lover's Lane. It was a little clearing. There was a lane leading down into the lane and clearing in the woods where we used to go play with our G.I. Joes and our cars up in there. But when we were up there playing, you always felt like somebody was watching you. You always felt eyes on you. You were being watched. Well, my first experience, I believe, I was about like 11. My brother was probably 8, 9, something like that. We were heading up the lane, going down the lane into the clearing. But on the right-hand side, I felt eyes watching me, so I looked up. I looked, and there was a huge figure standing next to the pine tree. It had a dark or a white ashy face with dark clothing, period clothing, looked like 17th century clothing. I looked at it, and my brother noticed it, and its head started to slowly turn around, And I told my brother, I said, do not look at it in the eyes, because if it catches eyes, you might freeze you up or something. So we ran like heck, and we were just down the road from the lane. So we were running down. I went into a ditch, and a piece of glass was there or something, cut my ankle. I still have the scar and the stitch marks where I cut my ankle so bad. Grabbed a bucket, because we had a bucket with, for some weird reason, dirt or sand, and put my foot in the bucket. It was just filled the bucket full of blood. But this figure smelled like sulfur and ash. It was huge, white ashy face on it. Something I've never seen before. That was something that scared the heck out of me. That was my first actual experience, I believe, seeing something that solid, that real, that right there in front of me. I don't know what would have happened if its head got all the way around and looked at us. I don't know what would have happened.
How old were you back then?
I was 10, and my brother was right around 8 or 9, and we used to go up there. We always felt strange, like we were being watched, but we always went there, to play as kids and stuff. That was my first experience. And then later on in years, I used to, in the early 80s there, I used to work on the road, and I would, mow yards and mow graveyards and stuff like that. Well, this one graveyard I used to mow with the crew, they left me there, left me there to mow the yard myself. So I finished the yard, started weed eating and stuff. And I wrote about this in one of my books. I went in the back grave, and in the back of the graveyard, there was a little grave that was unkept, unclean. Nobody was taking care of it. And the girl's name was Emily. And it was like, she was like 20 years old when she passed away. And I started cleaning her grave, raking it and mowing it, got it all clean, and kind of like walked over this way a little bit, kind of like walked over her grave a little bit. And when I did, I heard a breath go like that, and the ground cracked underneath my feet. And I just, that's the last time I did that. But I don't know if she was trying to tell me something. She was trying to stay away from her grave. But I always thought, I was helping out by keeping it clean and neat. Nobody else took care of it. So I did that. There's other experiences that I've had, crazy ones, I'm telling you.
But you say, really, though, it kind of started when you was about 10 then? 10 and 9?
Yeah, right around 10 years old, yeah. But there's things that happened, that I really wasn't recognizing until I got like that age. And then I started kind of watching for it and stuff like that. You started noticing things. And after that, you'd start seeing it. You'd notice things. And as I got older, I was doing the graveyard thing and seeing that with other things. And as I got a little older, while we were running around graveyards, my brother and I, when we were teenagers, we used to go to graveyards and take the old cassette recorders and
Yeah.
set them on the grave as tombstones and the grave. The old cassette recorders.
Oh,
We'd sit there and do
old
that.
school ghost hunting. Yeah.
Yeah, we'd run around the grave and tape. And I'm telling you, I kept one cassette for years, man. But I tell you, it had thousands of voices on it. You could hear one voice, just all kinds of voices, just a talking. And we sat down, we listened to that for a long time. I kept that as long as I could keep it. I think the tape started to rot. I had it so long. But there was just so many voices on it, and you could hear them plain as day, very clear. They're saying all kinds of things, like "get out." They were saying "go." Someone were saying "go." Someone were saying "stay." Just all kinds of thousands of voices.
Amazing. It almost like having the spirit box on. I guess like everything just trying to communicate to you all at once.
Yeah, it
That's
was.
great.
Yeah, it was very strange, and just other strange things that had happened. My son actually he stopped doing paranormal investigations with me, but he went over to a local great cemetery where we used to go. But I've been over there several times, and I've had this one female spirit over there that she's quite aggressive. I think that I I taped her voice quite a few times, and it's always next to this huge tombstone, and it's a tombstone that was sent from France. So she was, had family in France, and the tombstone is a French made tombstone. It's beautiful. It is beautiful. But I mean, when I would go there, I would ask her like questions like, "What's your name?" I never did get her name, but I got her voice. But I would say, "I'm not here to, you know, get you angry with me. I'm not here to, you know, uh, be a wise guy or anything. I just want to contact you." And a couple times she did. One voice said "out" in a whispering like type voice. I have that, and then the one EVP session that with my voice recorder, I was going back through that, and you could hear a lot of voices, like quite a few voices. You could hear a female voice saying "I'll get you," all kinds of different things under whispering, and then you could hear like a rock, a granite stone moving like underground. It was like a granite stone being
Scrape.
moved,
Kurt,
scraping or
I
moving.
just need to pause for 2 seconds. Is that okay? Just 2 seconds out. There we go. Sorry,
Yeah,
folks.
it
I just
was
had to let the dog
a
out
lot of
quickly.
things that are, yeah, it was there was a lot of things as I got older. A lot of different things that happened that I tried to document. And then I started doing the paranormal investigations. Started out by myself a little bit, like I said, into the local cemetery, and then Mel and my granddaughter got involved with Spirit Seekers, now known as MPI, Mel's Paranormal Investigations. So we started going out
Yeah.
some of the local areas. There were some places up towards Owego. One was called the Devil's Elbow, where the lady in white, she used to wait at the bottom of the hill for a ride. And she had passed away. They found a woman's skull next to the old tavern where I guess her and her fiance at the time was in the tavern talking to the tavern owner back in the way back in the early 1900s, and was in there and trying to make a deal with a cow or something, trade a cow for something. He didn't get his cow back, and the couple disappeared. Well, the lady disappeared, and I guess reading back on the history, the fiance disappeared from the car too. So he was it's a strange story. There's many different versions of it. So, but being there and investigating and being in the tavern and on the side of the tavern where they found the skull, the bulldozer's still there on the other side of the tavern where they were digging back in the 1930s and found a woman's skull. The bulldozer's still stuck in the mud there. It's still stuck in the mud from the 30s, still sitting there. And on the left hand side of the tavern is where they found her skull. That's where we were doing some EVPs. There was lady's voice that came through, but like I said, I researched it, and there's so many different versions of it
It's
that
almost it's almost like they found them remains and then just for whatever reason just left. So it's like, did
yeah
something
just look.
spook them?
Yeah,
Did they find more than
I
they
don't know.
anticipated? Something
Or
could
what
have
was
followed them home and made them really think, oh, we're never going back there ever again. Leave the bulldozer. Let's go. It's
yeah, leave the
interesting.
bulldozer and let's get out of here. Maybe they found something more that wasn't reported, you know.
Yeah, definitely.
But then
Another
there's
reason I
another.
touched up on sorry, you carry on.
Oh no, well, I was just I can go on forever with this stuff, but then we went up to another cemetery, which is quite famous for paranormal investigations, the Evergreen Cemetery in Owego, New York. And there's an Indian maiden who died in a train crash in the 1800s, and Sanana Loft was her name. She was a uh, Indian maiden. She worked for the churches and stuff, and all kinds of different things, bake sales, and she had a horrible train accident and was on the train and passed away. And she was buried up there in that cemetery, in Evergreen Cemetery up there. And her monument is not huge, but it's huge enough where people go. They leave feathers. They, leave coins there. There's a beautiful look off point where the mountain is. And we went up there. I wrote actually a poem for her. We burnt some sage and went up there a couple times, and it was very. You can feel her. I mean, you can feel
Yeah,
her.
the energy.
But years ago, before I went up there to do a paranormal investigation, uh, my brother and I went up there in the '80s, and it was a long time ago, and we happened to be walking up in there just to walk through there. We actually had a case of beer with us. Well, we was walking up through in there, and one mausoleum was open, just down from Sanana Loft's uh, gravesite. And we actually went into the mausoleum and sat there for a little bit and talked for a little bit. And next thing we knew, the mausoleum door slammed shut, and
Oh.
one of the where they put the bodies in started to shake. And I mean, I don't know. We just got out of there, and it was just something that
Do you
scared the
have,
heck out of us.
do you have some pictures of that? What you're talking about now that I can just drop in here when the podcast comes out?
I
Pictures
don't.
of the
I
monuments and
have
all that.
some. Yeah, I have some of the. Yeah, I have the whole investigation. I have a short investigation where we did
Yeah.
the tribute to her, so that's pretty cool.
If you can
I
send me
could
over
send
just
you that.
a couple of still images, just so I can drop it in, and just as we're talking, and people can see it on the live too, actually understand,
Oh,
what we're referring to. But now
all
the
right, I
reason I
will.
touched up on, sorry, I think there's a bit of a
Go ahead.
delay, so sorry,
I gotta
you carry
forget.
on.
I forgot all about the delay. I'm sorry, man.
Yeah,
I'm glad to be here. And then Mel and I have been doing the investigations. That coming up investigation. We plan on going to a Park View Inn in Wego, New York, where there was a fire there, and a girl died upstairs in the fire in one of the rooms up there, and there was some deaths upstairs up there. They totally redone it, did it now. It's beautiful, but the rooms are still there. The rooms are locked, I think, where the deaths happened. But I have
mm.
spoke with the owner and the owner's son. He's going to take me through in September, and we're going to go to the girl's room and try to get some EVPs and stuff like that up there in September. So hopefully
Oh, that'd
we
be
can
cool.
go up there. Yeah,
And the
it's got a long.
reason I touched up on the age part about when it first started for you is because Mel was telling us a lot about the old home when she was younger. She said she was kind of a similar age when she saw that figure come down the stairs, and other people saw it as well. So I'm just wondering, is it something that's in your family specifically, that when you get to a certain age, your senses kind of open up? And is there other people that's experienced? You said your son as well. Did your parents or your grandparents ever experience things like
Yeah,
when you
actually,
was
I
younger?
wrote about it. Yeah, yeah. My father had experience in. He's passed away now, but he had an experience back in the 50s when he was a teenager, and he used to go to this little soda shop down in Barton, New York, was the name of the small town, and him and his buddy was coming home from town, kicking the can and coming up through. They had to come through Waverly and go down to the little town to home, and they took a shortcut through the graveyard, and they were kicking the can and joking around and this and that, and they started walking through the graveyard, and something they smelled something. They said they smelled something that smelled really bad, and they felt uh, like foot, foot's coming really heavy behind them, following them. You could hear it boom and on the ground, banging their foot. And they started running. They looked back and they seen something with like a black robe or black something on, white face, and chased them through the graveyard. And they got all the way down to this big wire fence. They jumped through the fence, and that fence was bent down where they had jumped through it, through the fence or over it, and bent it down. And that sat there like that all the way up to the 70s and stuff, that fence that they broke down or went over. But they said they
Wow.
seen whatever they saw, it scared the hell out of them, they said. And that was back in the 50s.
So there's always been something around that town itself. There's a lot of history around that way. Then I'm guessing.
Yeah,
I mean,
there is a lot of history around the area, a lot of paranormal areas, a lot of places that they have had death there, and it's just at night, or if you're asking to talk with them, or that's when the activity starts, because I think they have something to say, but
not many
it's
people are willing to listen. That's the issue.
not too many
Um,
people are willing to go in there and take the time to,
yeah, no, definitely. So what would you say is the main factor, Kurt, that's kept your passion for the paranormal alive over all these years of doing it?
I I don't know, it's probably the questions that it'll either answer or bring up. I mean, knowing what it's like on the other side, or talking to someone from the other side is would be cool to know, if
Yeah,
what it's like over there, or and the unknown is something that we can't answer these questions, so you want to find out, you want to
yeah,
know.
no, definitely. So is there anything that's like any investigation or any experience, other than what you mentioned when you were younger, your first one, that's ever like unsettled you and like generally frightened you?
Yeah, I was over to the first cemetery I went to, the local cemetery, where I had the experience with the mean female ghost over there. Well, I was walking through, I was doing an investigation. There's a little set of woods when you go through, and you go to the graveyard. I mean, if you go through those woods, there's a lot of, it's dark in there. It's a very strange looking, little creepy uh, wooded area. And then takes you to the graveyard. Well, I would always go through that little wooded area, to get to the graveyard. And I was coming down through, and the strangest thing was there was a light that wasn't on. It was not on, wasn't blinking or anything. So I looked at it. I walked over by it, and it came on, which is really strange. On my way to my place where I was going to do investigation, when on my way around there was this pine tree. I was going to go to that female, the woman there who gives me problems there, and I was going my way around the right hand side, and I was coming around the pine tree, and I heard like a hiss, and I looked up, and up over the tombstone was a woman coming up over actually over the tombstone, and that's where the hiss came from. But she was there just for a split second and gone. But it was
Mhm.
that was scary.
I mean, well, one of my questions was, I mean, obviously we've previously had Melody on, like we've experienced, explained already. Your daughter, she's got her own paranormal group page she's created, um, and you've got your own separate group page. Can you tell us a bit about yours and why are you not linked? Why is it not one? Does that make sense?
I
Or
don't. I started doing CDSB Ghost Chaser, and sorry about the cough. But no, I started doing CDSB Ghost Chaser, on my own, and then got in with Mel, and when she was Spirit Seekers and now MPI. But that's how that YouTube channel became. I started it on my own, and we were doing it separately. We still do it separately. We get together and do our investigations, but
yeah,
that channel's, got all my investigations on there, and I wrote the books, Angels, Demons, and Strange Experiences, Part 1 and Part 2. So my audio books are on there. I have some awesome uh, audio books out there that were narrated by Kevin Thice and Brooke Chambers, and they talk about my experiences. Some of them are from my past. Some of them are from, you know,
yeah,
they're all written down and they're narrated by a couple narrators. So it was pretty cool to have that. That was done and awesome.
yeah.
But
I've been
they,
checking out. You've got a lot of stuff on there, so I've still got a lot for me to go through as well. When this video podcast does come out, I always ask people, can you drop in the comments just your page, your links, basically Facebook, YouTube, whatever it may be. Just drop
yep.
in the comments so people can easily find you.
All right.
Um, I did ask Melody as well. I said one of the questions I wrote down here. I asked Melody, what's it like investigating alongside you, obviously being a father? Did she approach things differently, or do you think it's well? How can I put it? Do you approach things differently compared to a team of not family outsiders, let's say? So, what would your response be as Melody's daughter? Sorry, Melody's father? Do you feel like you're more protective than you would be of
Uh,
a normal team?
yeah, I think so. But she's good. She's professional at what she does. She don't let anything get in her way. She does a good job. And all of us do. We do what we have to do. We don't kid around. We just go and do our paranormal investigations. And Mel's like that. She's business right to the straight business when she goes and does it.
Yeah,
So I like that about her. Uh, yeah. So we've done quite a few. We've had oh my god, I can't think of the graveyard cemetery we were at where there was a witch. I'll think of it before the end of the show. But anyway, we were there with Barbie and we did an investigation and our cat balls went off all over the place. The woman who was a known witch was Elizabeth Whitney up in I can't think of it, the graveyard. I'll think of it
no, you're
sometime.
right.
But anyway, she was a known witch. And, we've been to so many, it's hard to remember some of them cemeteries, I tell you.
Yeah, no,
But
we've got
sometimes we'll just be yeah, sometimes we'll just be driving by one and stop in there and just do a paranormal investigation.
no.
There was this one place I went to. There was this old cornfield I was told never to go
I
to.
saw that.
I went in this
I
old
did. You did a video on YouTube. I saw that.
yeah
It's
haunted.
a dead cornfield basically. Am I thinking of the right one? It looked all dead
Yeah,
anyway, from what I was seeing.
haunted cornfield. I called it. It was strange
Yes,
in there,
part one and
man.
part
I
two or
tell you, I
something.
never. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It was
Yeah, I did.
something else. I
I
did,
watched it.
and another one place that I never will go back to is the Witch Woods. It was a place that I went. I was always warned about that place. I used to get off the bus when I was a kid and go down in there. And at one time, there was an older lady there, and she said, "Never come here and never tell nobody that you came here." And so I never did, but I did go back there a couple years
Yes,
ago.
I watched that one
And
as well. That's the cabin where there was an homeless guy or something living there at some point.
yeah, that's the yeah, that would be the old uh, hermit's cabin
Yeah,
up
I'll
the
check that
road
out.
from way up the road from that. But this is the Witch Woods, and there's supposedly an old witch that was buried there. Tombstone is still there. The cabin's foundation is there. And when I was in there, there was a lot of tricks being played on me when I was there. I could hear the voices when I was doing EVPs and things written in the sand. There were stick figures made hanging from the trees. Whispers, crows would come down and file. I never got attacked by a crow. Matter of fact, I like crows, and I always got along with them. But I was chased out of them woods by a huge flock of crows, which I've never
Right.
seen that many. Yeah, that was I called that one the crow's warning, and I never seen anything like that before. They
Is it the
chased me
same?
one.
Is it the same in America where like the superstition is that crows are supposed to be around death for
Yeah,
Florence?
yep. Same superstition. Yep. Actually, supposed to pass the soul to the other side.
Oh yeah, I've heard that. Okay. Um, Jumping on to something a little different, you've got your own brand new live show starting on August 1st. What inspired you to start it? And is it a YouTube thing or is it a Facebook in particular?
Excuse me. Sorry. Yeah, it'll be on YouTube, and it's called Amazing Stories and Legends. And there, I imagine there's a lot of stories out there. I have a lot myself,
Yeah.
and they have special guests talk about. I wanted to have you on there, Buck, if you want to come
No,
on there.
love it. Yeah, I love urban legends, and I love the stories. Like you find out a lot of nursery, like kids' children's TV programs and nursery rhymes. It's all created from sort of some bad urban legend at some point when you look into them.
Yeah, I like over there. I know there's the Rams Inn over there.
The Rams
Rams
in, yeah,
Inn. Have you
yeah, we've
been
got quite a
there?
few. I've not been there. When my team, we used to do a lot of like abandoned places, and you know, we got 30 East Drive over here, but every corner there's a castle. You know, there's a castle 5 minutes up the road from me, and yeah, we got a lot of history in England, so there's too much to do anyway.
Oh, England, it
Yeah,
would be amazing. I love England, man. I always wanted to move there. I tell you, I always would like to have gone there. But like you
yeah.
said, castles, you're probably sick of castles. I'm sick of houses. I'm sick of haunted houses. I'd
Uh,
like to get into a castle.
so my brother lives in America, so I've been over a couple of times, and I always say to people that our houses over here, they're like 1,000 year old, and just still standing, still lived in today, brick made by brick. But yet over your side, there's houses that are like just 100 year old, and they look a lot older than what our old houses look like. Because it's strange. Like you're like I've been to Asher Walton House, McIntyre Villa, and like they're proper like houses that you see in horror films. Now you don't
Yeah.
see them sort of houses over here at all, ever. So even though ours are like still 1,000 year older than all of yours look older and they look scary and it looks like it's straight from a film. So that's what I love about it. A lot of the places over there.
Yeah, there's a lot of farms and there's a lot of huge haunted houses. There's an old theater here in town that I wanted to get back to. Went to as a kid, and I saw this movie called my uncle. He's passed away. He took me there, and I watched a movie called It's Alive. I don't know if you ever heard of it or not, but
No,
oh my god, I went in there to watch that movie when I was a little kid. He took me in, and the theater's still there. It's not the theater anymore. It's like a church in there now. But I've asked to go in there and do a paranormal investigation in there, but it's taken a long time to get back to me. I haven't heard anything, but I'd like to get in there and do an
yeah.
investigation in there because it's a bit huge. It's still, looks like it did back in the 70s and 80s, so I'm sure there's something going on in there.
I think a lot of venue owners like that probably have experienced stuff, but they're scared to get paranormal people in case it livens it up. I find over here anyway. That's after speaking to a lot of people, like they believe in stuff and the board etc. But they don't want to use it. They don't want people in case things start to happen, which could be why they're not responding to you straight away.
Yeah, I don't use any kind of boards or anything like that. I have holy water though. I do have holy water with me in my case if I go to a place that I think that's going to be trouble. I have holy water and I take a rosary with me. So I have that stuff with me just in case I bump into something that's pretty spooky. But yeah, like I said,
Yeah,
that female ghost gave me some problems. She was chasing me around the graveyard cemetery pretty quite a bit and heard her voice a lot. I have to let you hear some of the EVPs I got from her. She's very plain, clear, and simple. She didn't want me there,
Yeah.
but I was polite to her. I treated her with manners. I was polite to her, and it wasn't, cruel or being cocky or anything. I just asked her, I said, I'm just here to make contact. I'm not here to be, cause trouble or mean, cruel or mean or anything. I just want to contact you and let talk with you and find out
We're
what
here
it's
to
like over
listen.
there.
Yeah. No, definitely. So just to touch up on like your upcoming show again, will the show focus on investigations, storytelling, interviews, or is it just generally a mix of everything?
Yeah, it'll, we'll probably have a little story, like amazing story, and then we'll go on to some of the legends, and then we'll probably towards the end do a small little snippet on our investigations, like a, reveal show where we're going to be
Mm.
upcoming or where we did the last, investigation. So just throw it in there a little bit towards the end, but mainly talk about amazing stories and legends. See if we can, start off with maybe the first story would be Dracula. Go through some of the
Mm.
amazing stories and then the legends. There's local legends around here, even that you can talk about around here that is amazing. There's, like I said, the Park View. There's Spanish Hill, where the Conquistadores and the Indians had a long-standing hill where the giants, they say, lost giants were buried there. They found
That's it.
skulls and their
So I
bones.
find it so interesting just hearing the stories behind it. I do.
Oh, there's so many of them, especially just around my area in a 45 to 50-mile radius. There's the old jail right over town that is closed up now. I'd like to go down and get an investigation in the old jail down there. It was there for oh my god, 50s, 60s. It's old, but it's
Mm.
locked up now. You can't go in it, but I do know the owner, so I've been trying to get her to let me in, but she's kind of iffy on letting me
Hesitant
get
and everything.
down there. Yeah,
Is it?
but
Even you, I speak to a lot of people, like say from America and that neck of the woods, and there always seems to be an old jail. There always seems to be a jail that's haunted over there. I wonder why that is. Is it like did bad things happen back in jails back then? Or, I don't know.
I don't know. I don't know what it is, but there's one jail right here in my town that's locked up. I'd like to go to and do an investigation. But yeah, you're right. There are a lot of jails, a lot of sanitariums and stuff like that. Mel went to some place here about a month or two ago. We had car trouble. I can't remember what the name of it was. Not Waverly Sanitarium or Waverly Hills, but one
Yeah,
of
I'd
those
love
ones.
Waverley Hills is on my bucket list. That's one place I'd love to go.
Be ready. Be ready if you go to Waverly Hills, man. They say there's a lot of stuff in there, and
Yeah,
on the grounds and all that.
and Alcatraz. Yeah, my brother's been to Alcatraz a few times, and I'd like to go there as well. Seems pretty cool.
One, I would like to go. I'd like to go to some Scottish castle or Romania, where Count
Yeah,
Dracula, or something like that.
I that's one place I wanted to go to, Dracula's Castle. Um, but apparently it's like a hotel type of thing now, isn't it? I don't know if you've looked into it, but it's supposed to be quite.
Uh,
What are you
Posh,
saying?
isn't
Sorry.
it? And stuff. It's like a motel.
Well, it's supposed to be like
I
some
think.
sort of hotel, but from people that I know who have been there, I've heard it's not a very good experience. But I'd still like to go and check it out myself.
Yeah, I've heard a lot about it. But if you go expecting Dracula, I don't think you're gonna see him, but you'll see
No.
spirits or something like that. But he wasn't a very good guy, so I'm sure he was. He's
Mhm.
probably around, hanging around.
Yeah, I'd say so. I mean, just a bit thought provoking now. One question I wrote down was: do you think every haunting has a logical explanation, or are there cases that simply cannot be explained?
There are a lot of them that can't be explained. Some have explanations. Some can be nature. Some can be a shadow that's moving a certain way. You have to go, like when I go back home and I check my videos and all that stuff. I make sure I check the shadows. I check flashlights. I've checked the, see if
Reflections and yeah,
reflections to see if, and sometimes a reflection or a shadow can look like so scary. It could be a ghost standing there. You could swear it's a ghost. And so you got to go
Absolutely.
over it 9, 10 times. Sometimes you'll find out that it's a shadow. Other times you won't. You can't find out figure out what it is. You don't know what it is or how it's caused.
No, no, I do agree. But the one question I was just going to ask as well, I think you've kind of already answered it. I was going to say, if you could investigate any haunted location in the world, where would it be? So I'm guessing it's going to be Dracula's castle and
Um,
Scotland.
yeah, probably either Scotland, a castle in Scotland, or Dracula's castle. That's in Romania, right?
I believe so. I believe so. Yeah. And
Mm.
funnily enough, a lot of people I speak to, I had a guy on a couple of weeks ago called Cameron Bagg, and he's from Canada. He's just been to Scotland, and a lot of people I talk to, they want to go to Scotland. I don't understand why. Because there's a lot. I mean, I've never been myself. It's only a couple of hours drive away from me. I've never been, but there's a lot more history in England. You know, Scotland's got
Oh yeah,
the landscapes and like the islands and Loch Ness and all that stuff. Yeah,
yeah.
but you've yeah, I can see why people want to go there, but there's a lot more history in, I'd say, in England. If
I
you were
would say
looking for paranormal things, I mean, I'd like to go to Edinburgh Castle, Edinburgh Vaults, them sort of places. But other than that, I'm in no real rush to travel there, to be honest.
Ireland too. I wouldn't mind going to Ireland too. You know, I've heard a
Yeah.
lot about Ireland. I wrote an audio book. I wrote a whole story called Adventures in the Clover Forest, which is it's not like it sounds. It's not all about leprechauns, and it's pretty cool though. It's a lot of paranormal stuff that happened in it, and
Hmm.
but there is leprechauns, there's ghosts, there's different things in there. It's pretty cool.
There's an urban legend over there. What's it called now? Red. They're called Red something. They're like little kind of leprechaun things, and they live in the woods. And oh, bloody, what's that called?
Not fairies, right? Not
No,
fairies.
not fairies. No, they're can't think what they're called. I'm just gonna have to quickly Google this because it's gonna bug me. I need to tell you.
Are they not imps?
No, not that. Reds.
I can't think right now what they would be. I know what you're talking about though.
Netflix put a film out about them over the last year.
Yeah,
Um, Red caps.
red caps.
Yeah, look into that. That's quite deserving the history and the stories behind them. I believe they're mostly. I think it's an Irish urban legend, but it links with Scotland. They have the same sort of thing, or the other way around. It might be the other way around. But yeah, if you've not heard of them, check that story out. 'Cause that's a good like topic for you to discuss on your show.
I haven't heard of red caps. That's something new. I mean, isn't it? That's something just coming on here the last year or two. Or is it
No,
something old?
it's a proper urban legend, like a real urban legend. Um, but the film is recently new. They look a little bit like I'm trying to show you a picture. They look kind of like a goblin type of thing.
Yeah, yeah, he
But
does. The little goblin.
yeah, if
It's
you got
cool.
Netflix, try and Google what the program's called and check it out. It is pretty good.
Yeah, check
Anyway,
that out.
moving on. What's one piece of advice that you give someone just starting off in the paranormal?
Uh, be prepared. Always be prepared because you're always going to see something when you're unaware or you're busy or you're not thinking about you. You could be whistling down the road, putting your equipment away. Then's when you're going to see something. When
Yeah,
you're ready and you're prepared, forget it. You can go through 2, 3 weeks, having your equipment tested and
absolutely. Every investigation I've ever done, it always happens when you're packing up, you turn that camera off, and you're walking away. That's when you start hearing things and all sorts
yeah.
happen. That's why it's always good to have a camera on you all the time. Really.
I take a camcorder with me and I take my voice recorder and I did have cat balls. Like I was going to this new investigation a couple weeks ago. I do a walk through sometimes some of these places before I take Mel there. So I went by myself and it's an old mill that I think was owned by farmers that are buried up on the hill. They're mausoleum was up on the hill, but it's an old mill where you could see a logging road, and it's harder than heck to get to. But I finally got down around. It's like a 30-foot moat going almost all the way around it. I did find an exit entrance way. Took my voice recorder and my camcorder phone, like for recorder, and I was recording, and I could, for some weird reason, my voice recorder I'd press record, and I tested everything with new batteries. Everything was tested. I got there. I used my voice recorder, press record. My tests come on. It says this is CDSB Ghost Chaser testing. That came on, and then when I clicked it, erased it, and back to record again and start recording the investigation. I clicked it, and it says bye bye. My voice recorder said bye bye. So I clicked it, cleared, deleted the file, clicked it, started all over again, clicked record, and it said bye bye. It did that 3 times.
Does it normally say that?
No, that's the first time I've ever seen my voice recorder say bye bye. And it did it 3 times. I went through it, I checked the files because it has a file on it that you can delete if you record and it doesn't. So you sorry. Delete everything out and start again to record. So I was recording, and that's what it kept saying, bye bye. But I could hear walking. This is in the old mill. I could hear walking upstairs, and there's 2 like holes where you could get up there with a ladder. There was no ladder. I would have went up there and checked it out. But on this side, I could hear walking, and I had my camera. I was filming it, and you could see a figure walking back and forth upstairs. Sorry, Buck, man. I'm getting a cough.
Okay. Can you have a drink if you want?
I'm fine. We're almost done anyway, aren't we?
Yeah, nearly done there. But no, that's really cool. I mean, so yeah, Kurt, really, just before we wrap up, is there anything you want to say? Anything you want to promote, push out? And
yeah, we're looking for amazing stories and legends next month on my YouTube channel. Looking for more episodes with you. If you want me to come on, I'll come on. I will send you some stuff, so you can edit out. Anyway, sorry about the coughing, and I'm glad we got the show done. I was glad to be here, man.
No, I appreciate you coming on.
Yep, thanks for having me on.
You're the first father and the first daughter we've had on, so first case in the family there. But yeah, again,
it's still early. It's only July.
That's it. When this is out, Kurt will drop his links, guys, in the comments below. So check them out. Go and give him a follow. Check out his Facebook. Subscribe to YouTube, and keep a lookout for that live show that's coming out on the 1st of August. I'm sure he'll share on social media and whatever it may be, what times and stuff that'll be happening. But now, Kurt, thank you for joining us, and we'll catch you soon.
All right, Buck. Thanks for having me on, man. Appreciate it. Yep. Thanks, man.
Take care.